in a person?
I think what we've learned and what I've learned from the course here is just one, this whole visual rich media thing, and as you can see from my little kind of mugshot here, one of the things that we want to do is to put some sort of information on about Dennis and myself, with some sort of testimonial or some sort of information kind of about us. We also want to do some embedded video links, and again, having been taught how easy it is to do it with YouTube, it's an absolute no-brainer for us to produce a series of them, and probably have some sort of RSS feed linking as well, going into almost like an affiliate linking into candidates and employers that have registered with us on the site.
So in terms of video, it's a show reel, it's candidates. What's in your mind?
I think the thing that first and foremost people, and bearing in mind about a landing experience and a personal service, is people want some advice sometimes. So it's tips and advice on what to do, what you're looking for if you're an employer. So
it's beyond the sales pitch.
Very much so. It's coming back
5 minutes advice.
Exactly, and it's what you've been coming back teaching us about, which is about the trust element of what the site and really the community side of it, which is what people are increasingly looking for. So we want to be in a situation where we're giving advice and where we're able to put little different video clips in each week. For example, how to write a CV, how to resign, how to behave at interview, what the different interview and offer processes are. There's lots of different things.
How to resign sounds a good one.
Oh, exactly.
You just throw your toys up like that, don't you? And walk out. That's what I've always done.
There's a way to do these things, so we can see lots of things that we can do there. And obviously we can put some better visuals into the front here, just to make it look much more visually.
I think you're going to have to use a picture of yourself rather than Paul O'Grady. I think his people are going to be going to be really upset about that. Fantastic. So where do you go from here then?
Well, I think what we've got, for example, at the moment is a skin of the new front page of the site, and we're literally just in the process now of deciding the linkage between the subsequent the pages underneath and discussing what text we have. And for example, you've taught us about cliffhangers and zygonet effects and some of those other persuasive text issues. So we're going to be looking at how we actually implement that. And just coming back to that point there, for example, marketing and creative was something that two separate individuals effectively in the same business, two different areas, and I've come very much away from that. And one of the things that you've helped teach me is about this whole landing experience. So for example, it's not about me and my business partner, it's about our prospective inquiries coming onto the site, and we've got two distinct types. We've got employers and we've got candidates. So they need to be the actual landing points and the link throughs, and then from that we'll have sublinks, for people actually looking and what type of industry, what type of career are you actually looking to develop.
Fantastic. One of my parting comments for you, really, as we finish this, is I would sort of urge you to be a little bolder or braver in really starting again. And I know that you've got this traffic, and there's a sort of feeling that you want to maintain that and you want to go forward. I think if you took the thing entirely apart and started again, physical silos, think completely again about this linear path, the landing experience, and really just consign this thing to the bin. It's done its job to this point. You've got this far, and I think you've got a great opportunity to kind of really stand out, but I really wouldn't be kind of hidebound on really taking anything forward from this. The physical silo thing will mean that you have to kind of start again, under these directories that are called these two things. Well, if you're going down that route, do it now rather than later on, if you're sure that these two are these distinct entities within the business.
Well, and that's, I think, something that we'll really look at quite closely, because if we can keep the existing text and we can put that into some sort of silo so that it's not completely compromised, we've looked quite carefully at our competitors out there, and some of our best competitors that we really envy and have fantastically looking sites visually that really excite you have an absolutely minimalistic amount amount of text on it. So I take your point. And,
but text on there is a good thing. It's all about that densities and the other things we've talked about.
The creative industry quite naturally works into marketing and the PR side of things.
Right.
So a lot of creative organisations, agencies for example, employ those sorts of disciplines. Okay, so we have that almost that natural feed there. But you're absolutely right, Alan. What I want to try and do is actually broaden that appeal and broaden that discipline out into the corporate world, and it's about trying to strike that kind of balance and get it.
I think the physical silo thing will mean that you can do it search engine wise, but what you've got to do is get across those two different messages and that distinct.
I have to say, I don't think it's as big a challenge as perhaps some people might perceive, because going back to my earlier comment, we only have one direct competitor here in the East Midlands. Everything else is all directory and it's just web and database driven inquiries. And we've looked in terms of competitor wise at other small partnership organisations like ours, and to be honest with you, I think we're ahead of them, to be honest.
So what you've got to make sure that you're doing is that when it comes to search engine profile, your actual physical competitors are a different thing. Your actual competitors are actually the people in position 1 of page 1 of Google. So we need to make sure that whatever you're doing is going to be good enough to beat those people. You know who you are, who your competitors are locally, but in terms of SEO, they're often different people.
It's funny you say, it's a good point to make there, Johnny. Talking to the employers, most employers don't mention any of the competitors that we're referring to there, the directories. They're talking about the other agencies.
Yeah.
And there are, that's the other point to remember, is that there are a lot of very professional agencies that are our competitors that are nowhere near the front page of Google. In fact, they are, we haven't even touched on this, but they are pay-per-clicking, and they are in the AdWords section to try and raise their profile onto the front page.
And even this, I'm saying even this is beating them. It's interesting. It shows it's doable.
Well, it's beating them, and the point to make there is it's beating them because on a weekly basis we are making subtle changes to the site. We're putting assignments on, we're putting positions on, we're taking them off. What we haven't done, and what's looked so dated, is we haven't changed the original text, which is what needs the actual surgery.
Yeah, fantastic. Anything?
Have you considered how you collect the email addresses of maybe the people who are these 100 clicks that you're getting through the site?
Yeah, kind of an opt-in.
A lot about sort of an opt-in community or some way of you getting back to them, because you talked a lot about what you want to give and what we've learned a lot about, which is content that doesn't broadcast who we are. We're trying to broadcast what we can do for them. Yeah. So it's kind of turned around.
2% will give you 3 a week, won't it?
Yeah. You need to try and reach that contact so that they might not have got far enough to actually make the inquiry, but if you've got the email address, you can then
what they're interested in. That's an excellent point. Yeah,
it's some of your it's some of your your Web 2 ideas that are actually probably going to actually help us with something like that. As I say, we're looking at RSS feeds and an embedded video link. We've talked about a blog or a podcast or something like that. So again, we'll look for an appropriate medium there that will perhaps give us that sort of that regular.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thank you.
Standout moment then, something big, profound occurred to you. It was an oh my word, we need to do that. Is there anything?
Yeah, I just said the whole course, to be honest with you. It's been a real education from somebody that's worked and come across some of the way that websites are written and the problems that actually exist for many employers in the way that they try and do business on the web at the moment. This has been a really, really useful exercise in helping me to learn some of the disciplines that are currently out there.
Fantastic.